Yoshida being Reise might be the greatest plot twist in all of Chainsaw Man Part 2. It would be even crazier than Death Chance review, and that says something. It would finally give us an explanation of why Yoshida was seemingly the only human being that got puked out of danger, despite the fact that Yoshida is not the octopus devil itself. We got to learn that at the end of Aging's World arc, where Yoshida got to command octopus to do different things, different attacks, so it would finally give an explanation to that case. The fact that Yoshida was introduced to us right after Reise's defeat, the fact that Yoshida knew about Makima's ability, why she's able to hear things through animals, would also make it possible for him to actually be Reise, because Reise was foreign agent that had this secret information. And also the fact that Yoshida was introduced as the only public safety member that's not on the same level as Denji. And also the fact that throughout this chapter 213, Yoshida talks about how he's so happy that he got the opportunity to go to school, which we know that Reise wanted to go to school herself. And I also have felt like Yoshida is not really a character pretending to be an old person, but it was seemingly possible, even in volume 8, that Yoshida was lying about being in high school. So once again, that could be another tie-in for that theory to work. And the headcanon theory of how this went to be, at the end of volume 6, Makima defeats Reise. We know that Makima is able to control people and other devils. Angel Devil was the one to attack Reise and finish her off. Makima getting full hold of Reise, forcing her to make a contract with the Octopus Devil. Octopus Devil transforming Reise into looking quite a bit different, into changing her voice and into making her a different character. That would also explain why Yoshida was able to fight against Guangxi, to hold his own against Guangxi, despite the fact that he was, not really confident in his abilities, or he wasn't really speaking confidently about his fighting abilities. And it would also be possible for these theories to be just crackhead theories and not demanded that, and it's completely possible for Yoshida to have strapped on a bomb onto himself and to have exploded, but it's like, we know a character that can self-explode. We know that that character would be coming to cinema very soon. It's like, we know such a character exists in this universe. Why would you not put that character into action at the climax of the series, I guess? Or in general in the series. Okay, on to other thoughts. When I finished reading this chapter for the first time, I didn't have these thoughts about Reise being Yoshida at the same time. So I was quite a bit disappointed by the cliffhanger end of Yoshida exploding, of this double spread that looked decent, that looked wonderful. It's just that in general, in all manga, when it comes to the climax of the series, which I think that we're in right now, there will be a lot of cliffhangers at the end of a lot of chapters, and it would be most of the times cliffhangers that are not really allowed to live up to the hype when next week comes around or next month comes around. And yeah, we will see about this cliffhanger though. Another thing that I originally found annoying but now would find understandable if it were the case for Yoshida to be Reise is that we're not getting a chapter next week, despite the fact that we just left a weekly break. Last week was a week without a Chainsaw Man chapter, and this is the first time I think in Chainsaw Man Part 2 where Tatsuki Fujimoto doesn't get to release two chapters one next to one another and then afterwards having a weekly break. That might have to do with the fact chapter 214 is getting released on 16th of September, which is just 3 days before the Reise movie release. And it would be interesting if Reise were to return on the exact same week as the movie about her came out. It would be, I guess, reminiscent of what happened with the Jujutsu Kaisen community right when the Shibuya incident started airing, with Gojo and all that spiel. A little bit of a chapter recap. Another reminiscent thing about Reise. In fact, there are a lot of reminiscent things about Reise that I would mention right now. First of all, Denji trying to pick two choices while thinking of the sex appeal of woman. Fumiko's request for Denji to side with the War Devil, and Dead-chan's request to side with her. Also, Denji not realizing that Dead-chan had a hole in her stomach, which is funny. Then Yoshida starts throwing rocks at the window where Denji is staying at, which wakes up Dead-chan and Fami. Denji going to the front door and greeting Yoshida. Yoshida staying in the rain. Rain, another reference to Reise. Reise's first appearance this was after a ranger stopped, which was made by the Typhoon Deva, which I just remembered now. And also Raise's character, I guess, review of her character being a spy, happening while it's raining once again. Once again, action of the Typhoon Deva, I'm pretty sure. By the way, I just noticed this, but Yoshida was crying in this panel because of what he's about to do. Then Yoshida, suggesting to have something to eat with Denji, but Yoshida saying that he doesn't want to eat, he's just watching. What a weirdo. Then we get a review of thing that didn't appear in the manga but gets mentioned. Yoshida and Denji get attacked by delinquents, I guess. Denji transforms into Chainsaw Man, but Yoshida decides to, spare these people's life by just punching them hard. And I guess the only thing that makes it a little bit weird about the story is that Yoshida is warning Denji about not to transform to Chainsaw Man, but it might be possible for Yoshida to let that pass, that time when Denji transformed in front of these dudes to pass, because Yoshida was actually trying to be a genuine friend with Denji and, didn't want to have Denji suffer in the first place. And also, it's possible that could have happened, this whole sequence that got mentioned but we didn't get to see, between chapter 136, right before they get to the cinema, which could be yet another Razer reference. The first sequence of the Razer movie, one of the first moments will be Denji and Makima watching a bunch of movies in the cinema. Denji just eating the pizza, which might also be a reference to something. Well, we know that Denji likes eating food, and we know that was a goal for Denji at the very start of the story. And then the chapter ends when Yoshida says that he is the switch and explodes. Outside of, is Yoshida strapped with a bomb or is Yoshida the bomb? I'm not completely sure. Yoshida being the switch could allude to two things. If Yoshida is Reize, it could allude to the War Devil versus Death Child conflict finally beginning, and it would be a surprise attack. Who would expect for for somebody else to come in Yoru's place? It would actually make sense strategically from Yoru's side of view. Or it could be a public safety attack on Den-chan as revenge for what Den-chan did. It might also be possible for these two things to be simultaneously true. It could be possible that Yoru has gotten a hold of public safety and has gotten the power to control public safety, because last chapter Fumiko was on Yoru's side. This chapter we also get to see that Yoshida is, I guess, neutral on Yoru, or I guess it has not mentioned Yoru in negative light. So yeah, this happened while I was live streaming, but I didn't notice it. I wish somebody could have told me in chat. The last 2 weeks in a row we've been getting crazy reviews. Right after 212 we got the volume 22 cover, which looks beautiful. But man, this year has been the year of Tatsuki Fujimoto, man. We're getting a Chainsaw Man movie release, the biggest thing there could be for Chainsaw Man, for Tatsuki Fujimoto in general. We're getting a Chainsaw Man Omake for all the extra Omake chapters, yeah, that's what they're called, at the end of each volume until, from volume 1 to volume 8. I don't think part 2 will be included. That makes sense. But also today we got this crazy review that all one-shots of Tatsuki Fujimoto's from 17 to 26 will be released into short anime episodes from Amazon Japan. It will, each episode that is adapting a one-shot from these collections is going to be animated by a different studio, which is crazy. And then yeah, they're trying to hype Tatsuki Fujimoto up as much as possible, I guess. Personally, as I got to watch the trailer, I reminded myself that the Prophecy of Nyota is a cool story, and I'm excited to see that adapted. One of my actually personal favorite stories of his one-shots is Sisters, which he made between Fire Punch and Chainsaw Man. It's the best looking one-shot, short one-shot, looking wise, art style wise, and I also really like the story. It feels uplifting. It feels like this shonen story that makes you want to improve at things. We got a Fumiko review in 212. We got a Yoshida chapter in 213. When are we gonna see Barem? What is Barem's case? Where is he? What is he doing? What is his role for the end of part 2? I'm interested in this man. I am disappointed we didn't get to have a volume cover of his. I don't know. Cool things are happening in the Chainsaw Man universe. And yeah, that's gonna do it with the video. Long live Chainsaw Man, long live Tatsuki Fujimoto community. Bye bye, plebs, was in E.